Hello, my very dear ladies and gentlemen, it's me, Paul, my Studio Warsaw Poland, my humble YouTube channel, and some new hardware in the studio. This is Folia tracker I just bought today. But no, we're gonna talk about it next time, because you know what, Plugin Alliance has just released their Looptrotter SA2RATE plugin, and well, it happened that a month ago I have just bought hardware Looptrotter SA2RATE 2, so it's a perfect moment to test in-the-box saturation and out-of-the-box saturation on the very same actually unit and decide, is it better to go hardware, or maybe let's stick to the plugin because it's the same good or maybe even better. I can't wait to make it happen. We've got no time to lose. Let's go! Off we go, my friends, and a few words about today's session and methodology. As you can see, I made it hardware and software, and I took a drum loop, an indie rock kind of loop, and electronic music loop. They all have still some space left for additional saturation. I believe this material is also versatile, so it's gonna let us test both the plugin and hardware on different settings, harder, softer settings, etc., etc. Here's the plugin, looks like this, and well, it's kind of different from my hardware, because yes, I do have drive with 4 and 8% THD detection, I've got process, I've got low safe and high smooth, I'm gonna talk about it later, I've got mix knob, which is not in the original, I've got just dry wet signals to be blended together, and then there is something called magic in the plugin. It's an additional saturation circuit that makes this thing sound a bit more analog, they say in the manual. Then I've got levels, I've got gain compensation settings on the plugin, which is really nice, and it hasn't been always there with previous Plugin Alliance plugins. Then I've got this TMT technology, I've got channel linking density, which is input-output balance, mono maker, stereo width, I'm not going to use it right now, and main out. And just to focus on the saturation itself, I'm going to set the mix to 100%, and I'm going to turn the dry off on the hardware, so we're gonna only focus on saturated signal, my friends. And I of course connected the hardware using my patch bay, and we're ready to go, and we're gonna do it the way that first we are going to test the hardware. We're gonna set the nice tone with the hardware, and then we're gonna try to match the sound on the software, and then we're gonna compare it head to head. Let's go! Yes, my friends, this is kind of characterful saturation. You can hear the drums clearly distorting, because I think that the first example should be processed a bit more, so that the comparison between software and hardware is kind of really vivid for you. And well, we have nailed it. Now I'm gonna print it. Yes. Now let's get to the plugin. Yeah, let's try with this magic on 100%. It sounds kind of cool. I could hear the difference like right away, that it's doing some kind of magic. Let's use it, and let's match the tone. I'm gonna work a bit silent, you're not gonna hear it, I'm gonna present you the result. Okay, my friends, I think we're there. I did the settings tone-wise as similar as possible, though you will see that the drive settings here, it's around not around, it's 24%, while on my hardware unit it's almost 8%, but remember, hardware is strictly depending on the input signal when driving, so this is actually an equivalent. I know it doesn't look like, and I'm gonna maybe take care in the next example so that the drive knob is the same, so nobody said anything is biased towards anything, guys, but the distortion levels, the harmonic content of both units is as similar as possible. Also, I gain match the output, so now we can compare. And let's do it. And I have to tell you, they really do sound very similar. I mean, this is definitely the same unit, my friends. And well, I know it's been sometimes hard with between me and plugin alliance. I reviewed their BX True Peak limiter, which I didn't like, and Dirk Urlich didn't like the fact that I didn't like the limiter, but I have to admit, my friends, that this thing is close to the original, though I have to tell you one thing: the low end of hardware unit and the dimension of what's going on in the low end, it's better on hardware, actually, and this is why I like the tone of the hardware more. It's giving me this additional kind of dynamic space and fullness in the low end. Let's listen again. Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about, my friends. But you know what? Still, this is more than promising. Now, let's go to the second example, and I promise I'm gonna take care of the drive knob to be set up the very same way. Let's go. Yeah, so these are the settings I like on this example, and I engaged high smooth, as you can see. Low save makes a dip, makes a low shelf dip actually in the EQ, then it saturates, and then it makes this dip disappear, so it boosts the same amount of EQ, which makes the low end smoother, less distorted, less processed, I would say, while high smooth does the opposite. First, it boosts the tops with the shelf, saturates, and then takes this off the same amount of EQ, which means that the tops are going to be more saturated in the end result. So guys, these are my settings. Now I'm gonna try to recreate them using the plugin. Okay, my friends, this is how it looks. I think this is kind of really similar on the drive knob. Also, the indicator of THD really blinked the very same way, just entering the 8% on one hit of the snare on both hardware and software, which is kind of a good indication, I suppose. And guys, now we're gonna compare the result. Yes, my friends, and again, this is the same feeling that I've got with the previous material. It's definitely the same unit, and wow, full respect for recreating this as an algorithm, but the low end of the plugin suffers somehow. It's hollow. Somehow, I would say it's dead. It's like it's not alive. While the hardware version has got really like body, it's got fullness. It really does have some richness that it's not actually there in the plugin, if you ask me. But the mids and the tops, it's like it is the same unit. So I have to tell you that the plugin behaves really, really well, but still the hardware has got its advantage. I'm gonna publish the results, I'm gonna render the files, and I'm gonna upload them for you, so you're gonna hear that yourself. My friends, let's get to the third example. Okay, my friends, this example was quite a bit different, I have to tell you. I've heard that I set the low end more similar this time. There was definitely less difference there. Maybe this is also the point that I set the magic to 50%, maybe because this is electronic music. But again, this is the same unit. I can hear it clearly, and I have to tell you, I'm kind of impressed with the plugin, though if you ask me, let's sum the things up. So again, if you ask me, would I go for a plugin knowing that I can have a hardware unit? I would definitely go hardware, because what they say that the last 2 or 1%, it's always in the analog domain and it cannot be transferred to the plugin world. You know what? I think it's true in many cases, at least, and this is one of the cases, and I could really hear it and experience it myself. So I couldn't be happier to get Looptrotter SA2RATE 2 as a hardware piece of gear. But the news is good, actually, because what Plugin Alliance did and Dirk did, it's a really good plugin. And though, again, I might not play in the same team with Dirk and his colleagues, but I have to respect what they did. So, if you for any reason cannot afford hardware, go plug-in, because it is worth it, my friends. Hope you liked it. As always, let's discuss things in the comments. Now, I'm gonna get back to my hardware. Take care. See you soon.